Wait a minute, Rich. You haven't seen Legend?
You really haven't seen Crawl?
What about Vampire Hunter D?
Let's remedy that. Welcome back to Raised by Spoilers, everyone, where we watch and unpack cult movies. I'm your host, Geek Movie House, and surrounding me with the table tonight, the usual trio.
Woohoo.
The deadliest DM himself, Plebeian Adam.
Yes, tonight. I don't know. That was a terrible vampire. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I
It's
apologize.
Okay. I love it. I love it. The feminist warlord, everybody's goth mommy, Nintendo Geek.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am the blood DM.
So, I'm not a big anime guy.
No. You know what? This made me surprise me that you are far less anime than I had ever anticipated.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Not a big anime guy. And tonight, we watched Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust.
Yes.
The film from 2000.
Yes.
Just that's it. Not 2000. Just 2000. Not 2001. 2002. 2000.
Just 2000.
I couldn't tell you a budget because I don't think it was ever released in theaters, though it wanted to be.
Yeah, I don't know if it ever was.
Yeah. So
There's not a lot known about this one.
this is my first time viewing it.
Yes, it is.
So somebody take the wheel for a brief moment while we bounce around.
It does say that it made 151,000.
So then
in the box
it was showed
office.
in Japan.
Okay. That makes sense.
Cool.
So I guess to start this off, I kind of brought this one.
Yeah.
And I think this is an important one to bring today
Okay.
because, and I think we'll just open this up right now.
Like a pair of coconuts, crack them open.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We've got an announcement to make.
We do have an announcement to make. It's not actually my announcement.
So exciting news. This coming year, in the next few months, we're working on a brand new show where we focus solely on anime and like anime movies, everything anime, called Instant Noodles.
So what are we going to do when we talk about that? Because this one's going to be you and I.
Yes.
Because apparently Rich doesn't like anime.
No, it's so hard.
You
Every
guys
time
are
I try to
fucking
find
nerds.
a series to show you, it's like, nah, don't like this one. It's like 1 in 10 you enjoy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like 1 a year, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. It's too nerdy for me.
It's too much.
It's too much.
Okay, so this is the guy
Like,
that
I can
collects
play D&D.
toys
Sure,
and plays Dungeons and Dragons.
Absolutely, but I'm not dressing up for the D&D. Like, I love it. Whatever your thing is, that's fantastic, but I'm probably never going to LARP in my life. You know what I mean? I don't even like the idea of axe throwing, let alone fucking anime, for Christ's sakes.
But I think we're going to focus, much like how what we do here on Raised by Spoilers, just a more condensed version. Kind of like a shorter show.
Yeah.
Kind of in and out.
Yeah, I think what we're, so just so everyone gets an idea as to what we're planning on for this one, is the idea is we'll each bring a show, a review, a discussion of a show that we've brought, and there'll be a special Japanese word of the day.
Absolutely. It's a little bit like a book club.
Yeah.
Cool. So where could people find that? Are we doing a new channel? Are we doing anything like that? Or
That's the best part. No, there will not be a new channel. You
Okay.
can find us here. We know that we only put out one a month of this. This will be that to bring you back, to fill you in, to give you something that middle month.
Absolutely.
So that you can enjoy this while still enjoying other stuff.
And just like cult movies, there is a boatload of random weird anime out there to watch.
And I have a Crunchyroll subscription, so
So
endless.
the stuff you guys will be talking about could be found and watched and reviewed themselves.
Absolutely.
definitely.
Perfect. Fantastic. So a little bit of like an anime book club. We'll make sure that we have you guys in the loop and promote what that, I guess, the episode would be that week. So
Yeah.
anyone listening can either watch along or listen along and give us your opinions on that.
So we're still working out the kinks. So like I said, in the next couple months or so, depending on when this is released and everything. So look forward to that in the future.
Yeah. Stay tuned for Instant Noodles.
There's one more announcement too today.
Oh.
Some of you may be seeing this announcement already.
Oh.
I say seen.
Seeing. Oh, yeah. Adam, you're right. I was going to leave that for the end of the show, but I love it. We're live now on YouTube, folks. We're doing the show in color with sound, and apparently it's going to be a big deal at some point.
It's not actually in color. We're doing what they did in it's chrome keyed. Yeah, so we're filming in black and white, and then I'm going in and manually putting color into everything.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. As long as the budget works out right. So we are live on YouTube. You can find us on RBS Pod. On all of the YouTubes and stuff. If you have a Twitter, the links are, I think, on the pinned tweet of it. They're also going to have the show on the Spotify's and everything else where we normally promote stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, check us out and share. That's the first ad break we got to have, folks. Thank you so much. The show is brought to you by us. Like and subscribe.
Exciting things for 2023.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was it. Eyebrows. So what do we think? No, seriously, Adam. Vampire Hunter D. Why? Why this movie?
So I had a few lists. Obviously, this is about bringing movies that each of us haven't seen and to discuss them, to expand our knowledge. I had a few animes that I wanted to put to you that I think are cult classics.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's the Ninja Scrolls, and then there's this one. I thought this was a good, calm one. It's not quite as intense as Ninja Scrolls, and it definitely fits within we kind of love vampires.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time in Curse of Strahd, and I think it fit really well in that theme.
Absolutely. Curse of Strahd, famous D&D campaign setting for all of the editions, except the one we're not supposed to talk about because the internet gets mad.
Yeah.
Open D&D, the gaming license should be open for everyone. Fuck you, Wizards of the Coast. Anyway, so moving on.
So I thought it was a good thing for you guys. Also, what I should add is this is a love story, and we're in the month of February.
It is.
We're in the month of love.
We are.
This is the Romeo and Juliet of neck biting.
Yeah, there's a lot of toe sucking, neck biting, and hickeys all around
Almost
in this movie.
neck biting,
There's
but not
almost. Yeah, they edge themselves on the hickeys.
lot.
There's a lot of edging, hickey hedges. Yeah, I don't know, man. I got some thoughts. I want you to go through the rundown and do all the doobly-doos and everything, but
Okay, then.
I do have some thoughts on this movie.
All right, so because it sounds like you've got a lot bottled up,
No.
I'm going to avoid that.
Okay.
What did you first think of this movie? Because I think this was your first viewing as well.
Yes, I seen the 1985 one, or rewatched it.
Yeah.
Years ago when I saw it when Funimation was still a thing.
Oh.
Because I was confused. I'm like, I swear I've watched this, and then I'm like, it didn't click in. I didn't remember it, and then we just looked into it. It's like, oh, there's two movies. Okay.
Yes.
But I liked it. It had a lot of good sound design.
Yeah.
The music fucking slaps.
It was loud.
It slaps for how, like, I don't know, man. It's good.
They had some weird gothic, weird techno and mix.
But I just felt like, just even people just walking or like getting their weapons out.
Oh,
or, like, the guns,
foliage and stuff.
Yeah, like that sound design. It was really crisp.
Yeah, what I find funny about like in the cartoons, the anime, whatever movies of the 90s-ish, 90s and 80s, they have this fa-chang like metal cutting through stuff sound that everyone uses.
Yeah. It's the Wilhelm scream of anime.
Yeah, exactly.
But, like,
The gun loading and the
movies like this and like shows like this, like you said, especially from like the era of like 90s to 2000s, like I described them as like quiet shows for some reason. It's more of like a muted style of voice acting.
Yeah.
Like how the Castlevania show is on Netflix. Everything's
Castlevania?
just kind of like quiet. It's not like a lot of energy like the new animes are.
A lot
But
of
it's just,
the
like,
old
it's good.
Ghibli's were like that too.
Yeah, it's like late night anime watching. And
Yeah.
I guess it's like a form of nostalgia that I associate that with like old school anime. So the fact that this had that was kind of neat.
Yeah,
it's definitely a time place because when we watch like Witch Hunter Robin and stuff, it's almost the background music is louder than the dialogue. Or at some point and that might just be mixing.
Yeah,
because they're just trying to get it out, and they've got to work with what they've got with the original dub or the subbing.
Yep.
Where this feels like it's so weird to. It feels like the dubbing is almost out of place with the music.
Yeah, well, because they're like they talk soft, and then the music is so like over.
Right, or it's almost in some cases, and I'm using Witch Hunter Robin as an example. Is it's almost like Twin Peaksy, David Lynch style soap opera music.
Yeah.
For like a very simple moment where there's not really much movement or animation.
They're trying to give energy through the music.
Through the music instead of drawing like the
like
facial expressions and stuff. So it just lingers, and it's this just long, quiet shot of just synth. And you're like, oh
yeah. So you
stretching a mile.
Sounds like you enjoyed this.
It was good, yeah. Like I like the plot. It is like it doesn't end like a happy like, you know, like you're rooting for the two people that are trying to just like be together and escape. And it's like it doesn't work out. Well, it's like you said, like a Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, star-crossed lovers.
Yeah.
Clearly. Rich.
Is that what you think happened?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Rich, take this opportunity. Tell us about what you thought.
So, this is a bad movie. This is really bad.
I could tell your thoughts when we were watching it. You were so not into this
Things
movie.
were
really
happening,
bad.
and you're like, "What?"
This is really bad.
I guess
You're sitting there taking off your hoodie, taking off your hat, or your,
really bad.
your beanie.
Yeah.
You're going crazy throughout the movie.
Really bad movie. Some things I liked. Architecture. I bought a book. I'm going to lend it to you. It's called Anime Architecture. Google it. It's beautiful. It's a coffee table book. It's all about background art in movies and manga and anime. Vampire Hunter D is beautiful to look at.
Yep.
Vampire Hunter D has weird space church rockets and space church satellites. It's very Warhammer.
And space and weird robot horses.
Robot horses, I did not understand.
With weird horns.
I did not know. I thought that was just like the riding bridle thing, right? Like I just was like, okay, at this point, that is the least weird thing in the movie. Vampire Hunter D has all sorts of weird creatures of the macabre. And I love me some creatures of the macabre and tales of horror, sir. I am all about the spooky folks, as you know. Vampire Hunter D has some of the worst dialogue I have ever sat through.
I just think that,
and we do bad movies and good movies on like purpose, but the dialogue written for this movie, it wasn't even the volume.
Yeah.
As much as it's just like, oh my God.
Was it the run-on sentences?
You made a joke right in the beginning where they're like, take a breath, my guy. Like, take a fucking breath. It's beautiful. I got some highlights here. Fucking goth spider church castle. All about it. Carmilla. Cool. Why is she the villain? Do not know. What is happening? I do not know. There was a time where I was asking questions and your answer was, well, because he's a monster. And that's it.
That's it.
Because
That's all you got.
That's it. He's a monster.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Why is the girl special? We don't know. We like
just
none
love
of
each
it.
I want to add to that.
There's nothing.
So
It's just
the parasite demon hand.
Yeah, that was odd.
that's something in the manga or the
There
in
are
the novels.
40 novels, right?
Fucking
50 something on manga and 40 novels.
Okay.
Not once in the entire series do they explain
Why he has a soul.
why he has a goddamn soul sucking hand.
He has a soul.
Never
sucking
once.
They don't
person.
explain it.
They don't.
We know it's a parasite creature that has latched itself on to Vampire Hunter D. Why? What its intentions are? No one knows.
See,
Right.
when we first started it, and I didn't notice it was obviously the hand. I'm like, does the horse talk?
I honestly thought the horse
I thought
talked
the
too.
horse is
I'm like,
talking to
holy
it.
shit, the horse talks to him. This
And then
is
it
going
showed
to be
his hands,
wild.
and I'm like, oh, it's interesting.
Yeah, the hand was
I
weird.
can see through walls.
It can
Yeah.
so it sees magical auras and magic. So it can see the magical auras of the doors and stuff like that. And it can sense stuff by tasting it and things like that. It's actually like a demon parasite. And when it sucks stuff in, it can suck spells and objects and things like that into an
How
extra
hard does it
dimensional
suck?
void.
What do you do with that void?
Is it like
Nothing.
Moroku's
It's just
hand?
like it's what?
the wind tunnel.
Yeah. It just sucks him into the void of another dimension where you can't get out.
Oh shit.
Okay.
So yeah, they never explain it in the books.
So he's got a parasite hand that leads to the Phantom Zone.
Yeah.
Okay. It's fucking, it's good. It's beautiful. But then it just gets in its own way.
Yeah. And I think the other downfall that I give it is it almost doesn't feel continuous. I get a strong feeling of Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay.
Because most of this movie is a chase scene.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's like,
Which is cool.
Which is great.
There's like, that's what I mean. There's stuff here that are like, oh, fucking, this is really cool. Like, I will read the manga.
oh yeah, yeah.
Right. I will go on to read the manga. I don't think I'll ever watch this again.
Nah,
You know what I mean?
No, it's beautiful, like exactly
Yeah.
what you say, but they do this thing where it doesn't feel like a continuous thing. It feels like almost set scenes, and they just cut to the next scene. You're like, what the heck just happened to the last scene?
Right.
It feels abrupt
Yeah.
and unexpected.
Here's big action shots from the manga or the novel that we have to include because these are the moments, the fan servicey action moments that stand out so significantly that we want to animate versus the story.
Yeah.
Because the thing is even with this, like to use an example, Berserk just ends. There isn't like the end. There isn't a stay continue. They set stuff up because at the time that's all that was written or that was published. So them making this story and then it just like shit hits the fan and stuff just ends.
Oh, okay.
And then it's kind of unsatisfying because they didn't put out the next cartoon or the series that has nothing to do with the original one till like 10 years later.
Oh,
Right. So that's the one that's all anime CGI. And
Yeah, the one
shit.
that I didn't like.
Yeah, no. Like the Golden Age arc begins and you're like, okay, like we sort of get the idea of who this character is, and then just abruptly fucking stops.
Yeah.
And then you have nothing.
So that's the problem with this one is I feel like it's telling a very interesting story.
Yeah.
What
was that story?
The story was of you're pre-assuming
Yep.
that there's this vampire villain that is known for killing and making spawns and being air quotes evil, and people just assume he's evil. But you discover as you go through it that first of all, no, he did not kidnap this woman against her will, because you're assuming the Dracula story,
Right.
Yeah.
right? And it's not that. And also, you kind of over the time discover that the evil acts he did, he does it because he literally hungers and he can't
Yeah.
stop himself, and he considers it a curse. He hates himself for it.
Yeah.
That he can't stop it.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have, by the end of it, you kind of build a sympathy for him and his love. In this, it's not his fault. Like, he is cursed to do this. He doesn't want to, but he has
Right.
to. So you feel for him. And then obviously bad things happen and you feel for him even more.
Right.
But I think that's a really good twist of the story.
Okay.
But you're right. Why did Camilla need to be the villain? I think just because there had to be a vampire villain.
But there was no.
I think she was villainized because they reached out to her to be like, hey, can you get us out of here? And she's like, okay, yeah, I'll protect you. But then also too, she kind of betrayed them and messed with them.
she clearly had a plan. Because she needed a virgin's blood to reawaken. And so she manipulated the situation to get the virgin to her castle. No one's willing to go to her castle because her castle's haunted shit and everyone knows it.
Okay.
No one goes there. And she's like the bloody countess.
Yeah.
She used to rule with an iron fist long ago.
Right.
When the king of the vampires, Dracula, was like, I've had enough of your crazy shit. Even
Right.
Dracula was like, nah, you crazy.
Right.
And he, pierced her, can't kill her because their spirits are immortal.
They
said.
didn't explain any of this in the movie.
No, they don't.
It sounds
it just
cool.
shows that
It sounds awesome.
Understand, they do explain it. It's just one-off comments. A short, like the hand quickly gives off exposition to D.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's super quick. You get it very short period. I only really recognize this because I think this is my third or fourth viewing.
Okay.
So as you watch it more and more, you that's what he said. Oh, that's what he said.
Oh, okay.
And you add all the big pictures up. If because when you first watch it, you got probably a little bit here, a little bit there. But as you watch it a bunch of times, it all coalesces into, okay, I see the whole purpose of this. So she was just manipulating them. And I think the whole idea is it shows off this vampire is not an evil vampire, but
you see
there
that
were evil vampires.
There were evil vampires, but it showed with his self-restraint. There was a couple times where he was going to bite the young woman's neck. Charlotte, and he didn't. There was restraint.
Yeah.
Which shows like, maybe he does love her.
Well, she's
maybe
like,
there is
just
some
do
stuff.
it.
Just
I want to be a vampire. And he's like, no, I love you too much. Like, I don't want to condemn you.
To this, because he
And I
believes it's a
think
curse.
if he did, she wouldn't have died.
Which is, okay, so here's my little fucking rant here. At the end of the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
He gets stabbed. D doesn't like cut him in half. D just pokes him.
Yep. He lives.
He takes the ring and he walks out.
Yeah.
I don't think she died. I think the ring is proof to be like, let it go. And then he gets her in the rocket because she's bit by Camilla.
So
And
she's going to
that's-
turn
and
into a
that's
spawn.
all- yeah,
With no
spawn.
master, technically.
Right. So then it's something that like, hey, they're going to still be Romeo and Juliet, but run off into the spaceship. Because that was that whole moment when the one character was just yelling / crying, being like, take off
Get
and
off, go.
get out of here, as she's egging on the church rocket to fire out of orbit.
Yeah.
I think they got out alive. I understand what it says, but I'm
says-
allowed to just believe.
Does it actually say in the wiki
She
somewhere?
dies, yeah.
Oh, no. See, that's bullshit.
See,
I
I
like-
always took it as the Inception tabletop.
Right.
You determine in your own head canon
Yeah.
which one happened.
Oh, well, I
it's
guess,
up to
yeah.
you to
If
decide.
it doesn't show her like actually like dying on screen, it's like, yeah, you can just assume that she just becomes this like.
Well, vampires
vampire.
are dead.
Yeah,
So she's died.
dead. Yeah,
She's
there you go.
died. Collect. Here's the ring. We got to get the fuck
Yeah.
out of here. Take your lady.
And then
it's
he
too late.
left.
There's
right?
nothing
like
we can
he
do.
left the planet to
right.
go.
I always took it as the top from Inception, where it's up to you to decide.
Yeah.
Is it a dream or is it not? Is she alive or is it not?
Yeah.
So they
that
escape
makes
on the
sense.
church.
So I'm kind of
rocket.
pissed off that it says that she died in that.
Yeah, I
Like,
would have
fuck off. I don't believe you.
Mysteriously, we unknown till this day, kind of thing.
Also, with the church rocket going up into space,
Church rocket.
the beginning of the movie, it shows just a ton of shrapnel in space. So are they actually going somewhere, or does the rocket just kind of fall apart and they just die in space?
No, they don't just die in space. I don't know the details. I think they're going to I've always assumed they're either going to a space station, or they're going to another planet that has no sun.
Oh, and that could just be maybe the rocket, like, you know how it sheds like the different boosters and stuff.
Yeah.
That could be that. Okay.
yeah.
I think they don't know. I think they just blast off and just slam into it in a weird sort of way.
They.
If she can't die in the castle, she dies in space.
I won't let her die on
Well,
Earth.
think about it. No, they're not going to have food.
Yeah.
Is like virgin blood just like that's just food so he can get off the planet?
Well, no, she needed it to revive herself.
Yeah,
Sure,
Camilla was
but-
dead in a very unique, special way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm saying the count here isn't thinking of all the steps.
No, because the vampires, as far as I can tell from this universe, don't need blood. They grow weak without it.
Right.
But they don't require it to survive. The problem is the longer they go without blood, the more they hunger for it. So it gets harder and harder and harder.
Right.
Just like we get
So there's no
hungry and
game
hungry.
plan here for Vampire Island.
No.
That's the thing.
It's possible. There's no. I don't know. I've never read all the novels.
No. We're just the hypothetical.
The hypothetical. Yeah, I don't know. I assume they're going off to another planet where they have their cattle. They're going off to another planet where they're not being hunted.
So why did the world end?
Nuclear war.
What the fuck happened? Why are vampires there and why are they going extinct? Also, what does D do with the money?
So, as far as I can tell,
Buys a new horse.
That's
Why
about
is it
it. Like,
as far as I can tell, the whole shtick is in 1999 there was nuclear war that made nuclear winter.
okay,
Vampires were around, but in small numbers.
okay,
Well, we put ourselves in eternal darkness from nuclear winter fucking up the
Yeah.
blotting out the sun type of thing, and so vampires were like, yeah, this is our time to shine.
It's our time.
Yeah.
It's nighttime all time.
Yeah.
Well, what was happening is over time that started going away.
Right.
The sun started
Earth
to come
healed.
back out. Earth kind of healed. Vampires ruled mankind. Still kept them around as cattle, more or less.
okay.
And then many years later, the planet started to heal, and the sunlight started to happen, so the humans started to gain an upper hand and fight back. And now this story takes place the end of the vampires' age. So the vampires had an age which was thousands and thousands of years long. Now this is the end of that age.
Do you think the story versus the setting is hindered by the setting because of the post-apocalypticness? Like if Vampire Hunter D was just, it's the 16th century or whatever, and everything is overly embellished in Gothic architecture, and it isn't vampires in space. It's not Castlevania,
Yeah.
but it's still, there's a vampire who hunts vampires across the world, and it's not like church tanks, and it's not so Warhammer.
I think
Would it less complicate things? Because then it's not like, why is the robot horse drinking water? Instead, it's just like, I need to use the horse to cross rivers. I need to use the horse to avoid the vampire tropes.
I think their big problem isn't the sci-fi part.
Okay.
in this movie.
Because that's where I thought it was like, oh, the sci-fi thing is kind of tripping me
I
up.
think it throws in too much, but I think their main problem is, as far as I can tell, this is a movie for people who have already read the manga, read the books.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there going, oh yeah, robot horses. Totally. Like, you know, I know the back history. I don't have to think about it. But for you and me, we're going, why did that robot horse explode with an organ inside of it?
Right.
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And so why is it drinking water? There's these things that they just don't explain because there's kind of an assumption of, well, you already know this world.
Yeah. Also, it's like, it's funny how everything's so futuristic with the rocket ships and the robot horses, and yet they still use carriages.
Yeah.
Yeah, technology had stopped.
Yeah.
In a weird way. Even though there's vampires everywhere.
You don't know what era it is, because it's the mix of high-tech technology and then low, like, I don't know if they have electricity, because everything was like...
They definitely do.
Did it?
Oh, yeah, they definitely do. I always just assumed it was kind of this is what happens if civilization evolves from the idea of a vampire idea. They love their carriages. They love so this isn't us, mankind, evolving. This is evolving technology, making Tesla cars and so on and so forth. This is what happens if Count Dracula was like, I want my carriage, but I don't want my horses getting tired.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And they can't build AI for whatever reason, because this is a world before AI. So they go, okay, well, put a brain of a horse inside a body, fill it with a bunch of drugs, and the horse can go forever. Fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's weird because like it circles back to Castlevania, the Netflix series.
Yeah.
Where we kind of get into we need to farm humans. Mm-hmm. We need to keep them alive, and we need to figure out a way to almost lobotomize them so they won't fight back.
Yeah.
Right. Turn them truly into cattle. Where this doesn't evolve those ideas as much as it's just like, we're vampires. We are going to carve up different territories, and then we're all just going to build spooky castles. And then what's the plan? Space. like you know what I mean? Like, it stops. And of course, in a weird sort of way, the eternal night would be space.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now, granted, the science theory and furthering the development of what astronaut vampires would be kind of gets muddy. So that's where it is like, we'll just launch a church into space. We'll be fine. We'll be in a coffin. And it's like, I think that's where I don't think there is the vampire space station. I don't think there is the planet. I think they just hit orbit and bang.
That's what I thought too. Like, because they were all destroyed and crushed, and it's like, okay, like, do they just stay up there with no communication and just kind of slowly?
See, and I took that
more the vacuum of space they would have, like, you know what I mean? As soon as we're gonna go sci-fi, but it's like, okay, but how sci-fi? Because as soon as we start getting into pure, true science fiction, the wheels come off the wagon.
See, and I took this as this is two civilizations past ours.
Okay.
So you've got a civilization that, like ours, that created a bunch of satellites. Then it dipped down due to nuclear war.
Right.
I'm sure that nuclear war involved blowing up a bunch of space stations around our orbit, right? All the different planets or countries.
Well, they had those shots with those giant classic satellites, right? In the desert.
Exactly. And then the civilization rebuilt back up with the vampires, and the vampires built their utopia, they're built, and I'm sure they had a lot of technology, a lot more than they're showing in this. And this is a second apocalypse. We're in second apocalypse.
Okay.
So I assume that those things that are in the sky are, and this is someone who's read the books are going, you guys don't fucking know what you're talking about.
Listen,
but we're here to watch movies. This isn't a novel club. This is a movie club.
Yeah.
So I always assumed it was just remnants of the old era.
Okay.
Of this great era of vampires. And it's another show of the decay of the vampire era.
Well, yeah, because you have your less forward thinking and more of the hierarchy of a vampire coven, clan, cult, sect, where our oldest vampire is our leader, and he's 10,000 years old or 2,000 years old at this point. So of course we're going to have Gothic architecture instead of the classic vampire nightclub like you see in Blade.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't have sleek Gothic design, you have jagged Gothic design.
Yeah,
because if
people
time
connected
not shifting,
to the past,
or they're not turning vampires in. It's a weird, like, they're stuck.
Yeah,
but because it's so far into the future, they're not going any further.
Exactly.
with that, and a weird sense of we can live forever, but we can't go backwards.
Yeah.
It's odd.
And they're too connected to their past. They won't let go because you're not having that new generation, that old generation grow up, grow old, and die.
Right.
They're people like, well, back in my day, we had Gothic. Well, back in my day is still my day now. Like,
Right. There's no nostalgia.
I'm immortal.
Yeah, there is no nostalgia because time is just so quickly fleeting and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oof.
It's a really weird interest. I think the universe of Vampire Hunter D is very, very interesting. And I think that's what makes this movie so good visually. And it really draws you in like, oh, I wonder, I'm curious. It really makes you curious about the universe. And I think this does that. But I do have to admit, as a movie, mechanically, it's not that great.
It's all over the place, but like you watch it and you get inspired.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to look at. I immediately, when we first started it up and you watched the alleyway with the wagon running down the main street and you're seeing these alleyway shots and all these crosses
crumbling,
and flowers are dying and water's freezing and it's like the dog is barking and I'm like, well, this is just Bloodborne. They clearly just ripped Miyazaki, phoned in sick from work and just ripped off Vampire Hunter D because he can't create anything original in his life. And it's just Bloodborne. Like, that's it. Like, the whole, even the spider,
the weird werewolf guy felt like a Bloodborne Souls type boss.
Tummy Wolf? Tummy Wolf. Church Spider Castle. Church Spider Castle, right? Trick weapons. All of it, right? Like, the iconic, just structural integrity of just all of it. It's just wild to see and go, why wasn't there more of this? Also, this would be wild to work on and then expensive.
Yeah.
Because a lot of shots look very expensive.
See, I got, because the designer of the characters worked on Final Fantasy, and I immediately got like the Final Fantasy 3/6 vibe, especially the art in the books.
Yeah.
Just how like ethereal they look and stuff. And like even in Camilla's castle, that big statue
Oh, I love that thing.
in around the spiral staircase was like that. I'm like that. Yeah, it's Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I got Bloodborne vibes. I got Cainhurst Castle. I got the Old Hunters DLC, in which case you unlock the fucking Vampire Hunter D outfit.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you get the outfit and then you get the katana or whatever.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's real cool because they at that point they're like, "Hey, we can't ignore it anymore. They're onto us.
They've caught us.
They've caught us with their hands and pulling off more magnets."
I see. Obviously, I
ripping
get
stuff
very
off.
strong Castlevania.
Castlevania.
Like, I don't think that's the hard.
No.
That's easy to get.
This came
not a
out
stretch.
before or after?
That's a tough
Not
one.
this one, but the original. Let's say.
That's a really tough one. This one definitely came out after, but that's a good question. One thing while you're looking that up, I really thought was interesting was I forget my thought on this one. Wow, that is brutal.
Take a breath.
That is brutal. This is the original show, 1989.
Oh,
First two seasons adapted.
Castlevania was after.
Oh, that's 1989. Yeah, definitely.
Hang on.
First one
I'm
definitely
jumping,
came
I'm
out
jumping.
before. Come on. You can do it.
Jump.
1986.
Oh, so the
86?
same time.
No. 83.
Ho-ho!
So Vampire Hunter D predates Castlevania.
Wow.
And that's not include. Was that include? You were looking at the book, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what I want to talk about. So you were talking about the etherealness in the artwork. One thing that they talk about when they describe D. First of all, they also never answer whether or not his dad is Dracula. They call him the king of vampires,
Okay.
but they don't actually imply is the king of vampires Dracula. They never imply it. They do imply that he has power over other demons, over other vampires somehow. He can resist them, kind of like he did in Carmilla in this one, where she had her lightning, where when he rages, he can resist.
None of that is explained.
Nope.
None of
But
that.
so they
the power
imply
set,
it.
the power set thing was so weird to me because all of a sudden it's just like, well, we got a cool fight scene. What if this happens? And it's like, well, why? But what if it did? Like, what? Like, what do you mean?
It does very Deus Ex power.
Yeah.
Machina.
Yeah, it's a monster.
It's funny because they kind of explore it throughout the books and talk about it. His weaknesses, his strength. His weakness is stupid. Every once in a while, he gets heat stroke unknowingly. There's no time, rhyme, or reason. It just happens during the day.
Amanda, as a fellow goth, is it hot when you wear a lot of black and like layers?
Yeah,
heat
but the
stroke makes
hat
sense.
should help him.
The
But
heat
yeah,
stroke
he's probably
makes
just
sense.
overheated.
But that's the whole thing is he gets like sun weakness, but it's random.
And
it's
then
random.
he has to bury himself in the dirt.
Yeah. So anyway, in the books, they describe him as like overwhelmingly magically beautiful.
Yep.
Like the kind of looks, and I shit you not, they've described it, the kind of looks that make women wet the moment they see him.
Wow. So no wonder the one girl, Layla. I got the feeling right from the get-go that she was like into him, but she was so like against it just from her like childhood and like her relationship with vampires.
I didn't take it as a she was like. Obviously, I assumed she had some type of attraction towards him because it's kind of the shtick with that character is he is just so magically beautiful.
Yeah.
Like perfection.
Yeah, there's weird moments with the dialogue where she's like empty. She's uncontrollably speaking.
Yeah.
And then there's moments where it's like, but that's stupid.
Well,
Whatever.
they were trying to play her up as like the more of the tomboy, like she with one of the boys.
She's a tough girl.
Yeah, she's tough.
Yeah, they're trying to do that.
So
but
she can't be soft.
I always viewed it as what was happening is she saw a softness in him and she went, wait, you have to be tough to do this. Why are you helping people? You don't have to help people.
Right.
That's not what we do. And she's reevaluating what her role is. She's been this tough girl who gives no fucks about anyone except for apparently her crew. And you can't, the enemy's the enemy. You can't give him anything. Whereas D is a little bit more soft and he's not just immediate, like he's committed to his job. He is paid for a job, but he's also looking at the vampire and Charlotte and going, they actually do love each other. He is curious about that because he recognizes the dichotomy of that from his parents.
It holds on to his humanity.
It does,
Him helping people and being not necessarily passionate is the thing that is probably the only driving thing that connects him to humanity instead of just going off the deep end and sucking necks.
Sucking neck.
Wasn't he upset because he didn't want them to have like another child that would be like him?
Yeah, I think he's obviously they show in a certain section there with that older man and the sheriff. There's a severe level of racism towards Dampiers.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because Dampiers are one of those things where it's kind of, you never know when they can go off the deep end.
Right.
They're fine now until they're not.
Well, everybody's a little jaded with vampires, regardless.
Regardless,
in this world, people do not like vampires. And
he can be just out and about during the day, so he's kind of an underlying threat.
Yeah.
it freaks people out.
Yeah.
It freaks people out. So obviously he feels this, why should I bring another curse into the world?
Right.
Why and I think that's part of why he eventually kind of accepts and understands. I'm forgetting his name, the bad guy villain. The bad guy. Meyerlink. Yeah, there you go. Why he kind of comes to an understanding because Meyerlink clearly shows that he believes vampirism is a form of curse.
Yeah. But he's trying to make something good out of it.
Yeah.
Or
and
like,
D's
we're
the same
happy,
way.
leave us alone.
Yeah. And D's the same way. He kind of comes to that same understanding of, oh, you and I are not too dissimilar. The difference is your hunger is stronger than mine. You've given into it. So he gets it. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't think it's I think I'm taking strong leaps here when I make those statements. I don't think it's well presented in the movie.
Everybody whispers.
Everybody whispers.
Everybody whispers in this movie.
But I think the story is there. It's just not as obvious as it ought to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there was a reason why she was special, even if it was the first shot when he comes to liberate her or free her, and it was just stacks of letters, like correspondence back and forth, right? Or even if there's a brief moment of a voice actor or even the Japanese actor reading, saying like, my dearest, blah, 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 blah. It has been this many weeks since I have last seen you. Like they take a page out of Dracula.
Oh,
right?
see, and I would
have that narrative like, oh, they've been together.
See, I don't like that. I like the idea that we find out as D does, that we've made the assumption that he's abducting her.
Okay.
I almost think they reveal it too early, right?
Yeah.
They reveal it the first time D's on the cart to a small degree, or at least they clue you into it. I think it's pretty much a reveal at that point, but I think they reveal it too early.
Then the argument would be made that Mayor Link needs to let her know what the plan is, almost like a exposition dump, way sooner.
Yeah.
To say, we're not going into the mythical land of eternal darkness, space. We're going to Carmilla, who said she could help us.
Yeah.
Right. And then we'll go to, and then the next time he's explaining more of the plan in pieces instead of just saying, trust me, we're going to space. Like it doesn't, it doesn't fit.
For us as the viewers, it feels almost
he needs to coax us in.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. We almost, I think as viewers, we don't really know where anything's going.
Right.
And because you don't know that, you don't have an idea. It's okay if you know where something's going, then it veers off.
Right.
But you need to sort of have a sense of a plan. You just feel like you're in a set and then in another set and then in another set with no idea of the future.
Cool fight, set, cool fight, beautiful splash page of just destruction and the annihilation of the apocalypse of human space. And then it just kind of falls apart.
Yeah. I think you've nailed the best and the worst.
It's
of
a
this
beautiful
movie.
film. There's some amazing backdrops, and there's so much here in this universe. Like I said, I would definitely probably when I'm done Berserk, I will read this next.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's really cool. I think I like to go back and see what has inspired some of the creators I enjoy right now to get there. Hence why I'm going through Berserk. Because Miyazaki is lazy and can't come up with anything. He's just got to rip everything off.
Yeah.
Miyazaki, creator of Dark Souls and Bloodborne, for anyone who does not know. But
Don't even mention Elden Ring
I can't.
or Armored Core.
No, I won't, because Railroad Martin made it by him.
Martin.
He took a break from Game of Thrones and just said, I'm going to make my first video game by myself. And then he put out Elden Ring.
I'm pretty sure he's openly admitted that
Not having a clue.
not having a fucking clue. I think they
I worked on it at one point.
So this is a small tangent. I think he did an interview. He's like, yeah, I went there and I talked to them. We talked about lore and stuff, and I gave him some through lines. And they took that and built Elden Ring. I don't know where
They never called me back.
Yeah, and he's like, they took my ideas, and I can see some correlations, but it was inspiration to them.
Yeah.
That
Was it J.R. Martin's idea to have all the monsters start with J.R.M.?
I don't know.
Yes, that's what he does.
I think the only thing he really contributed was the interrelationship pantheon.
Sure.
Everything else was probably everything else.
And maybe some names.
Yeah.
Because he's good with that.
Oh, side tangent done.
Back to Vampire Hunter D's. D's left hand does not have a name. It is just D's left hand.
Yes. Doesn't have
it.
a name.
I love it. But yeah.
It's an interesting thing that there's so much in this movie that I don't know why, but I think I watched this movie for the first time X amount of years ago.
Okay.
And all I sat there was like, okay, where's the first one? Like, there's just
that's
so
what it
much
feels
not
like.
explained.
That's what it feels
It,
like.
it starts in the middle of a story.
Yeah,
But it is based on the it's not based on the first novel. It's based on the third novel.
Yeah.
So you're
So
already,
they start and run.
this is probably maybe this story is cut and dry enough that you can tell it within a movie without having to over explain too much.
So I'm curious then, would this technically be just the sequel? Compared if we go back to watch the 85 version?
No,
And then
they're like timeline wise, they're not even connected.
wild.
They're not.
Wild.
The only thing that's the same between them is a dude named Vampire Hunter D.
Huh.
And it is the same character.
Yeah.
But you technically don't know, kind of like the way they did The Witcher.
Yeah.
You don't know which one happened first.
Right, because I think the first one he actually goes up against Dracula.
Oh, does he?
I think the first one I don't quote me, but I think the first one he goes up against Dracula, or they keep saying
I've seen it, but it's been so long.
that's what I mean.
That I
That's
can't
the problem.
remember.
Yeah, I
Years,
can't verify that, but yeah. So everybody, let's run down through some stuff. We did our first impressions. There was no props. There was no special effects.
No. I think what we can say is the animation was really good for its time era.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
There was a lot of known, I think that was around the time where we were getting, the Saturday morning cartoons where everything was cheaper animations. We were getting the same stills, where I didn't feel like there's that many, if any, just lazy
Reused.
stills, reused.
No, I don't think so.
They spent a lot of money on animation.
Each scene was so different from the last scene.
Yeah.
So it's like they didn't really have a chance to reuse the same
Assets.
backdrop or assets. Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you guys some questions then, because I don't watch this stuff. Fantasy trope, dark brooding guy, gives a loud, quirky sidekick.
Cliche.
Cliche.
Oh
Happens
yeah,
all
it's
the time.
like in Berserk with Puck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that just
Kinda
keep
need
happening?
Well, I think it's if it's so dark, you kind of need. Actually, I don't know because I don't really see that too often. But yeah, I think it just creates more of like the humor.
A sense of dialogue.
Yeah.
Usually it's twofold because you always have that one. You always want that cool Batman character that's sitting there like, I'm awesome. Look at me, I'm awesome. But I don't talk a lot. So that's not fun to watch.
No.
It's a cool character and action scene.
You almost need the Robin to ask what's going on. You need the Puck to feel like, what the fuck is that?
You need the reader's point of view.
You need the readers, and also you need a little bit of levity.
Yeah.
So that side character, that parasite, that is usually a bit of their job is levity and exposition.
It's like Miyoka from Inuyasha, the flea that always hangs out at Inuyasha, and it's like, oh, this is what your father did, and this is the history of this, and this was 100 years ago. Okay. So that kind of gives the reader or the watcher like, oh, that's the context.
So the D's left hand is technically just your author's voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. The narrator of it. Very cool. Okay. Does it hold up? Would it be remade? And would they keep it traditionally drawn?
I think they could remake it much like you mentioned. I still need to watch it, but the new Trigun. They could probably reimagine it, maybe tell a different story.
Yeah.
But yeah, because the animation has changed so much.
I believe it's finished, so they probably have a beginning, middle, and,
Yeah, like I'm surprised there's not like an anime series, kind of like what they did with Hellsing, because Hellsing has like 3 adaptations and I think a movie.
Sure.
Like much like Full Metal Alchemist, like you see the original, but then they redid it condensed.
Okay.
So
like a
it
Brotherhood
definitely is
style.
possible.
Yeah. Would they go traditional and keep it as beautifully drawn like this? They don't draw anime like this anymore.
No.
Yeah, like
it's very
this
rare.
is the stuff that is
the saddest thing of my reality.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it's beautiful, and the reason why I think I enjoyed it so much, and then I enjoyed
the amount that you enjoyed it.
The
comes
amount
from
I
this.
enjoyed it is because it was all drawn, and the CGI was very, very sparingly used. The bats, the castle shots going up, right?
They definitely make the faces less severe. As it's gone now. Now it's more like everyone's soft.
Yeah.
It's not the pointy chin like.
Do you think they would just go CGI with this? Or they do the 50-50 thing?
Would hate it. I think what they would need nowadays, you have to do a little bit of cheaper. Yeah, it's just cheaper. I think obviously they'll do digital art, right? Okay. They won't do hand this would have been
all hand
the slides or whatever.
Yep.
I think they probably would have done I would hope. Let's put it this way: if I could get what I wanted, I would expect it to be mostly digitally hand drawn. I guess you could call it. With a mix of the CGI to fill in those really tough things to animate, like the bunch of bats. Maybe not even a horse, but like the bunch of bats, or when they pan up to a castle or stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's what I would expect. I think this could definitely be done better nowadays.
Yeah.
I think if they redid it, if someone good, obviously it could go bad, but I think they could make it better because they could tell a better story. We've learned to tell a story. They could start at the beginning, explain a few goddamn things.
Yeah.
Explain the universe a little bit better, or at least give us the opportunity to allow us to explore it through like a series, like you said.
Like I could see this being maybe it couldn't just be 12 episodes. It would need to be like a 24 episode run of like, just to really like put it out there,
right?
Like how Witch Hunter Robin is. You can't just tell this big of a story in 12 episodes unless it was multiple seasons.
Right. Interesting. I honestly thought it was going to be gorier.
Did you?
Yeah, it wasn't very gory.
No, it had some gore, but nothing major.
Like nothing, which was surprising because it's that 80s style anime.
Yeah.
Well, it's 2000, but I mean,
2000,
even then, hailing from 80s style,
it's very much inspired by.
I mean, there's stuff that's rough.
They probably dialed it back in order to get a rating that they could still show to like teenagers. Because I think if you do too much like blood and gore, it ups it to like 18.
Yeah, this very much feels like a 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like Teletoon or Cartoon Network film kind of thing. It does not feel like midnight or later. You're watching like bullets and brains. Like it's not like Akira, or it's not like some of the other ones where like Fist of the North Star, where you're watching a man get his heart ripped out and he's still alive screaming, "You're ripping my heart out," kind of thing.
This is one of those movies where it's hard for me to adjudicate a lot, because a lot of these old anime movies that I fell in love with this style, I fell in love with because of Blockbuster.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. But you just go to the shop and you'd find some random cover that looked interesting, and and that's how I found my Ninja Scrolls, my Vampire Hunter Ds. Yeah. So there was definitely a style, and you're like, oh, violence and stuff, and it felt more violent when I remember it as being more violent. Yeah. But you're right, on rewatching, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad, realistically. Honestly, I was expecting way more, but yeah. Well, we got eyebrows.
I think the one that I'm thinking of is the lady. I don't know her name, but she one of the people that came from that was basically hunting them, including the bounty hunters that
Layla?
turned into the tree.
Oh,
And got-
The hair monster?
Yeah.
The hair monster that could turn into thing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a podcast within a podcast. We're doing eyebrows. We bridge those brows. Any special effects, props, or incredible shots that stood out.
I think it was Caroline.
Okay, yeah, her, because she. I want to say I remember she had like some like wild hair, and also like I love how everyone was wearing those outfits that went like down to their belly buttons.
The boob shirt, the V boob shirt.
Yeah.
The in boob shirt.
Yeah, but she definitely had one of the better eyebrows, and also one of the cooler like death scenes, getting like struck by lightning.
Oh god.
Wildly convenient. Wildly
the storm
convenient.
was already starting in the background, leading up to her going into the
She
tree.
got struck by lightning because she had a knife in her head.
Yeah,
She was a tree,
She was the
which gets
tallest
struck by
boy.
lightning, and she had a knife in her head.
I've seen videos online of pine trees getting struck by lightning, and they explode.
They do.
I mean, the thing is,
I think the girl held by oh my god.
okay, I agree with Rich that it was highly convenient,
It's very convenient. That's all I'm
but
saying.
it's not completely out of the world.
No, she
Yeah.
was the tallest object with metal in her head.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
You guys are jumping leaps of logic here in this.
All right,
Adam, what did you think?
I am going to give it to the eyebrows of Wolf Stomach Man.
Tummy Wolf?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Tummy Wolf. First of all, his tummy had some little bit of eyebrows going on. I don't know if it was eyebrows or just supposed to be like
Nose
sheep
hairs?
furs or something like that. I don't know. Nose hairs. But also his eyebrows were super bushy and jagged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Tummy Wolf gets it for real. I think the best shot in the whole thing was Spider Castle.
Oh yeah.
I think when you finally see that money shot of like we're going here, and then it's not even the outside of the castle as impressive as it was, as much as the inside, like the small details of the tile floor being cobwebs, the spiders in the walls, the ceiling almost being mirrored with the spider webs. Like they really went into an aesthetic and a look, and they nailed it. It was interesting that there were beds in the castle.
Oh, considering they don't sleep.
Right.
Good point.
And mirrors.
I think the mirrors just kind of remind them that who they are.
Good point.
Some of the stuff doesn't make sense.
I can
on that
potentially
matter.
explain the beds. I would have assumed that they had humanoid servants at some point.
They would not be sleeping in beds if they were humanoid.
You're
servants.
probably right. That
They
is
were
a problem.
The whole theme of the whole vibe is human or cattle and blah blah blah. And I get, vampire fuck mansion. I get it. I get.
Dampiers do exist,
I get,
so
I
they
get all
did
of it.
fall
Yeah,
in love
the whole
with their
thing was
humans.
like we like banging, and that's awesome. It just was weird that they're like they got the mirror and they got this, and there's all of these beautiful shots. I'm like, wait a minute,
hold
wait a
on,
minute.
hold on. Okay, this is gonna get real weird for a second.
Okay, okay.
Would you? So there's the classic sex in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Would it not be better if you didn't see yourself in the mirror and you only see the person? I mean, at that point, you just look at them. It doesn't make any sense. I'm moving on.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's like sex in the mirror, but without the purpose of the whole sex in the mirror. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
No,
I
it
just
doesn't make
think
any
there's-
sense. You're
there's
right.
I think the problem was they were draw a castle, fill it
Yeah.
up, now populate it with objects and things. What would be in there?
And they
you're
thought
looking at-
human things.
right? And they thought human things. They didn't
Yeah.
think right.
Yeah, good
go
point.
hide in the pantry. Why does a vampire have a pantry? Like
you can have a pantry. It's just open up and there's an arm there and a
Arms,
head
fish
and
meat
a-
hooks.
fish
Yeah.
meat hooks.
oh, yeah. Any closing thoughts? Final thoughts, Amanda? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate Vampire Hunter D? Bloodlust, Bloodline.
Well,
Bloodlust.
just for how pretty it was, I would give it like a 6-7. Like you said, the plot was a little convoluted in some areas, but no, maybe not. Yeah, I'll give it like a solid 7.5, because like it had that classic Romeo and Juliet where like you think that he dies, but he really comes back to life, and then she dies, and then he moves on to presumably either go up into space and die or do his own thing, like you don't know. I thought the story was okay. I think it got a little muddled with having the bounty hunter having D and the bounty hunters chasing Meyer, Link, and Charlotte, but then also having the 3 other people chasing them as a whole. Mm-hmm. It
the
just
goons.
yeah, the goons. So
Okay.
it just created a lot of plot around that and a lot of fight scenes where it's like, I want to know more about what's going on, like you said, with like their love story.
Right.
and their background. And I get they need to have the action, and that's like the appeal of, like, oh, it's so cool. Like, look at these monsters fighting each other. So it just got a little muddy there, but I did like it as a whole.
Yeah.
Definitely really pretty with set design, sound design, animation.
Yeah, the music slaps.
The voice acting was great.
It was very whispery. The dialogue was awful.
Yeah, but like I said, that's kind of a genre itself where it's just quieter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the quieter parts make it more intense.
Yeah.
Adam, how many Vampire Church space rockets would you give this movie?
I think I'm just a smidgen under you, and I think I'm at a 7.
Yeah.
I'm at a 7 space rockets. Space rockets.
We're vampires in space.
No, I think the 7 is a decent number, and most of that comes from, I think this has like interesting, if you take it piece by piece, it has really great chunks.
Yeah.
It's got a really good story plot.
Yes.
Where it uses your own understanding of vampires and your own natural tendency to hate them against you in a very interesting way. It's got a very interesting world that just, without saying anything, wants you to go Google search and go dig deeper.
Keep going.
It's got a great idea of a plot, which is this, Fury Road kind of
The
chase scene.
Yep.
I think all of that is fantastic, each on its individual own. And obviously, we've talked about the artwork a million times. The problem where it fails is it's bad at connecting all of them.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning, where there was a lot going on in the middle of the movie and not so much going on in the beginning and end to tie it all together, other than they just kill the people.
Yeah, but if you want inspiration for D&D, for storytelling, I think it's a really good inspiration for
That's exactly what I was going to say. But how many space rockets?
7.
7.
7 space rockets.
So I agree with you 100% on all of that. I think this movie fits just in the same sort of bed as Brother of the Wolf.
Yeah.
Watch it, take some stuff, get inspired. There's a lot of beautiful architecture. There's a lot of story notes, like you were saying, in threads to pull on and keep going with. It's a little convoluted. There's not enough. I wanna know more, and the movie didn't deliver.
Mm-hmm.
I will eventually read this because it's beautiful, and I've seen some of the artwork for it, and I am curious. But the problem is as a film, it doesn't stand on its own 2 legs.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
But it does its job where you watch this, and then you're going to go try to find to read it. So it gives you enough of the world that you want to go explore it, like you said.
Yeah, I guess that works.
It's a good commercial.
Yeah, in a way, but it's not a good film for the series.
Mechanically, it's not a good film, but it is interesting.
Yeah, you can definitely. The Bloodborne screams Vampire Hunter D. Castlevania screams it. There's a lot of stuff that I enjoy moving from the 80 or 2000 onwards, or even 83 onwards from when this first came out. You can definitely see. Once again, just like the Warriors, this has got its fingerprints in anything modern, any modern Gothic. This is touched so much. Even Tim Burton's Batman, for Christ's sakes, with the architecture.
Yeah.
There's so much of this being what it is. So I would unfortunately have to give it a 6.5.
That's fair.
6.5, vampire rockets in space.
Really quick, can you go to the voice actor who did D, like the English one? Because I swear he's done this character in
Andy Philpott.
Like, what else? He's done a few other things because his voice is very...
Mobile Suit Gundam. Not a whole lot.
Oh, maybe not. Okay, maybe it just sounds like... Because I'm thinking he
Go
sounds
down to video games. Final Fantasy 10, Final Fantasy 12.
Okay, maybe not. He just sounds like him, but he sounds like the same actor that does, like, Hellsing. And
oh, that makes sense. Yeah,
and the other ones. Okay, never mind. He just sounded like that same, like, I guess, broody, quiet voice. So
yeah,
that makes sense. I think all the voices here were fantastic.
Oh, he shows up in Ninja Scrolls.
Yes, he does. Cool. I think this was it was similar art studio. I think it was the same art studio.
Yes, it is.
So that's why I like you can see I was born of that generation.
So you have a style. You have a just like. For me, the Gothic architecture and stuff like that, you have a very unique style within that color palette that you like. And that is your place when it comes to anime.
Yeah.
That sort of edgy, sharp line.
Nostalgia.
I immediately look at that and think, wow, they really, really, really were inspired by Ninja Scrolls to do Afro Samurai and the other
Yes.
stuff moving forward,
Yep.
where you can see where it's
And I love Afro Samurai. So
See, and I'm over here. I love my slice of life. I love the romance. I love the BL. So it's gonna be an interesting show. It's gonna be Shoshin versus Shonen.
yeah, Instant Noodles I think will be very interesting because it'll bring someone for anyone who likes anime. It'll be fun.
Even if you don't, they probably will talk about something you might be interested in.
Yeah, because there's gonna be a wild groupings of stuff.
Yeah, this is just kind of like an intro into that. And this has been on the list. I think we've mentioned Vampire D a few times in the intro. Like, this has been on the list since, like, you know, because we've been doing this for over a year now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, long time coming.
I look forward to listening to Instant Noodles. I can't wait to see what shows you guys watch and end up picking to talk about.
We can even turn it into ASMR, actually eat noodles.
I don't think
God.
anyone wants to listen to that.
Slurping
Oh
those
my
back.
God. We are Raised by Spoilers. You can find us at RBS Pod. We are on YouTube. We are on all of your places you can get podcasts. You can watch live, or not live. You can watch the pre-recorded stuff that we do all on YouTube for the video. Adam, where can people find you?
You can find me at my other podcast, Ronin Geek Podcast, wherever you find your podcast.
Perfect.
And you can find us on Twitter at Ronin Geekery.
Beautiful. Nintendo Geek?
As always, Instagram, Nintendo Geek, and Twitter. The tweets.
Twaddly tweets.
Still not getting it.
Nobody's figured out Twitter yet.
No.
Honestly,
One day.
we've double checked and the site just won't
I
load
think I
anymore.
I follow 17 people, and I think the only people that follow me are like you guys and
That's
a
nice.
handful of
Is
other
this a
people.
If you want to
call-out?
feel better about yourself, know that not even the owner of Twitter understands Twitter.
Absolutely.
True.
Like, subscribe, share the show, share it like a cold. We'd love to hear from you. If there's anything you want us to hear us review, hit us up on Twitter or in the comment section. We need 5 stars, folks. It helps us help make a better show for you. I am Geek Movie House, and this was Raised by Spoilers. Good night.